Wanted to bring you an update on the race for a very powerful but sometimes unnoticed position within American politics. That is the position of Manhattan District Attorney. Now, why is this so significant? Because this is the individual who has jurisdiction to prosecute a lot of people for financial crimes.
Yes.
Because we're talking about Manhattan. We're talking about Wall Street. We're talking about the heartbeat of all of the financial improprieties that have nearly destroyed the entire country and the entire world over the past few decades. Well, it turns out Wall Street has got their candidate in this race. This is great reporting from The Gothamist. In the heated race for district attorney, Tali Farhadian Weinstein is Wall Street's candidate. They're ultra rich of New York City lining up behind her. And in particular, the people who have taken the most interest are hedge funders and also a lot of real estate interest to the tune of millions of dollars. Needless to say, a massive conflict of interest if she actually were to win office.
Right.
Now, again, this, unfortunately, and this is really the problem, it's all totally legal.
Of course it is.
To take all this campaign cash. New York City has some more strict limits on campaign finance and matching funds and low dollar donations, etc. This is ruled by the far more lax New York State laws. So she's getting tons of cash in from the very people that she would be then tasked with overseeing their potentially criminal behavior.
Right, and she lives, as they report here, in a $25.5 million Fifth Avenue penthouse. Her husband is apparently rose through the ranks of Deutsche Bank, and he launched his own firm called Saagar Capital Management in 2009. When questioned about her husband's wealth, she has responded that it is misogyny. Don't you just love to see the web? So you can't criticize Elaine Chao for her ties to the Chinese Communist Party because that's anti-Asian bias, even according to the Republicans who want to defend her. You can't criticize anybody who, for a person of color, woman, or whatever, because that's misogyny. So bringing up her own personal ties to Wall Street and now the donations flooding into her campaign, that's all just misogyny. It's just amazing. Whenever, she'd be like, well, do you talk about, male corruption as well? Yeah, actually.
All the time.
Yeah, like literally all the time.
Ask us about Governor Cuomo and you'll find out about that one.
I'm sure they have mutual donors.
Look, people should be judged on their own merits, not by their spouse, et cetera, et cetera. But her spouse and a lot of his business associates are giving big cash into her race. So suddenly that becomes relevant, and you can't even make that it's misogyny. That just is so outrageous and disgusting.
It's classic weaponization of identity politics to cover up very, very legitimate questions here. And when you look at the charts around the fundraising, it's crazy. I mean, the amount of money that she has relative to everybody else is just absolutely insane. You can go and take a look here in this Gothamist article. She's raised over $2 million. The next person there is Alvin Bragg, who's raised $1 million. And the next person after that, $716,000. And then it begins to go exponentially. So it's like an exponential curve, or the wrong way.
Significantly more than doubled the next highest fundraiser in this race. And so, look, always follow the money. The people who bring you to the dance, the people who fund your rise. Who are you going to be looking at? Whose phone calls are you going to take if you ultimately win that office? Who are you going to aggressively go after? Who are you going to kind of look the other way? It raises some big questions here. And I mean, really, this crap should be illegal. Like, you shouldn't be able to take money from the very people that you're going to be in charge of overseeing. It's insane. And you wonder why we have the system that we have and why people are so disgusted with this two sets of rules and the fact that the laws never seem to apply to some of the biggest criminals in the entire country. This is just like a little microcosm into how that sausage is ultimately made.
That's right.
More Rising for you after this.